Welcome to Mac Advantage Professional Perspectives in Accounting. My name is Scott Showalter, and I'm the director of the Jenkins Master of Accounting program. Today, we're very fortunate to have Alan Whitman join us. Alan is the former CEO of Baker Tilly. Alan has been at the center of one of the biggest transitions to impact the accounting profession. We will unpack that statement as we go forward with our conversations today. So with that, let's just jump into our first question with Alan. Alan, you graduated from Indiana University in 1987, not to make you feel old, and have served in a variety of roles since joining the accounting profession. Please provide just a brief summary of what that career looks like.
Well, Scott, first of all, thank you for having me on this recording. It's a pleasure to see you again. From our 3 years serving on as board members of the AICPA, you were a phenomenal board member and learned a lot from your involvement and your participation. And before I answer the question, I do want to I can't help myself, but I saw a national championship in basketball in 1987 when Bobby Knight Hoosiers of Bobby Knight won the national championship against Syracuse after being UNLV. And I just enjoyed a national championship in football, amazingly enough. Actually went to the game by the Hoosiers for the first time ever. So it's been a great year being a Hoosier. Look, my background is just like everybody else. I'm a CPA that loves to build things, loves to explore new ways of doing things, loves to break the mold, and I'll share what that means, I'm sure, sometime during the conversation. I've had just a wonderful experience being a CPA, and look forward to sharing a little bit about that with you in this next few minutes as we talked. It's been a wonderful career, both professionally and then the personal side of things is something that we shouldn't forget, because this is actually fun. While it's hard work, it is fun.
Right. And that's all about why I invited you on, because I know we enjoyed our time together, and I knew you had some great insights to share today. So you did retire from Baker Tilly as a chair and the CEO in March of 2023. And I'm sure our audience would just like to know a little bit about, what is the role of a CEO in a top 10 accounting firm look like?
Well, it's like herding cats. This is a professional services profession, and it's all about the people. And really, I jokingly say that the role of a CPA firm or a large firm CEO is to optimize the value that people bring to clients through strategy, through systems, through processes, through communication, vision. You're there to enable others to achieve things that they don't think they can achieve, or they don't even know what's possible. Not as it as it relates to what they can do, but just the art of the possible. I remember when we set goals at Baker Tilly, and people looked at me like I was crazy, and I probably was crazy. But sometimes you've got to sometimes you got to put crazy goals out there to get people to realize that the sky is the limit. And so as the CEO, I spent a lot of my time talking to people, enabling them, breaking down obstacles in order for them to do things that they otherwise wouldn't think of themselves, and then help them and enable them. That's really the macro uh, responsibility of a chief executive officer.
Great. And the proof's in the pudding. Where Baker Tilly is today is lots different than it was when you became CEO, for sure, in that perspective. But soon after you left Baker Tilly, they accepted an investment in a PE firm. Can you just comment on the role of PE in the accounting profession? Because you see it popping up everywhere these days.
Well, I think there's a number of different aspects of that, Scott. One, it's a de-risking element, enablement, meaning, you know how the partnerships are formulated. People kind of wait till they get to partner, then they wait to retire, then they wait to earn their pension, whether it's for life or for over certain periods of years. And there's risk along the way. And the way I looked at PE when I began the process at Baker Tilly was it was an enabler. It put everybody on the same level, because some of the people coming in had already monetized. The people that were the legacy lifers at Baker Tilly had never monetized. And so we had different, classes with a small C of partners. And so I knew that we were going to need to make more investment. And I knew that it had all the investment to that date was on the backs of the partners. And after a while, there's no more money in the till, so to speak. You can't mortgage and remortgage and mortgage your homes, et cetera, it's too much. And working within the confines of the partnership, rather than using the capital markets, it's limiting. And so to me, there's enabler for capital, monetization of value sooner rather than later, as opposed to as the clock ticks or as you get older. It is an enabler of different ways of looking at the business to activate different growth elements. Um, Look, the people at the PE firms that I've worked with, and now the people at Madison Dearborn, which is the sponsor of Nichols Colley, my new position, are wonderful. They're smart. They've seen a lot of things. That they enable new thinking, which I'm a huge fan of. And so, while there's always been hesitancy or negatives or negative perceptions of investors, because that's what it is. It's an independent investor. It's whether it's a family office or a insurance company or a PE firm. They're independent investors. They are here to deliver a return to their partners. And the challenge is, can you get a balance? Can you get a partnership relationship as opposed to we versus they? That's the challenge. It can be done. I'm actually living it right now. And so I think that private investment, independent investment, is a good thing because, as I say in the book I wrote, most CPA firms are lifestyle businesses, and that's good enough is good enough versus no, we got to set a plan, we've got to execute a plan, and we've got to deliver. And if we don't, we got to regroup and deliver it the next time. And that's different than, good enough is good enough. And so I think it's a good enabler of professionalizing the profession of, put the business in the firm.
Okay, great. I appreciate you putting the business in that because I know there's a lot of misinformation about PE out there. So I appreciate the perspectives that you have provided on it. I'm sure that'll help a lot of our viewers. And you have been in and around the accounting profession for a long time. And please share your views about where we are today, but probably more important, your crystal ball. What's the future look like for the accounting profession?
Well, like any profession or any industry, it's going to evolve. There's going to be innovations. There's going to be new ways of doing things. I think that there's always going to be outside in pressures. There's always been that, whether it's technology, whether it's regulation, whether it's consolidation. Consolidation, as you know, Scott's been going on before you left the Big Four. I mean, and you've been out for a while. So consolidation isn't new. Now, what's new is external investors. What's new is new models like Crete and Ascend and Springline and Soren. To me, that's innovation. I don't know where it goes. What I do know is there's a lot of interest in the profession, and I've not seen a PE firm or an investor want to water down the efficacy of the service. I've not seen that. They want it to be as good as it can be because that will result in greater results. So I think the future is bright. I think it's going to put pressure on all leaders to think differently, different operating models or technology. And as I say, Scott, yes, everybody's using the word technology or AI. How much AI have you put in the system? I don't think that's the right answer, the right question. The right question to me is how much friction have you taken out of the system? How much human intervention have you taken out of the system? Now, that doesn't don't think that I believe that everything can be done artificial means. Not at all. Reason, experience, et cetera. AI is not there yet by any stretch of the imagination. It'll get there eventually to some degree, and humans will be pushed farther. But there is plenty of friction in the system just because we've always done it the same way. We've done 1040s, individual tax returns, the same way forever. So we need to streamline that so that we can spend our time on more value added, higher level advisory services, which is only going to help our young professionals. I'll give you an example. I was a tax guy. Um, I must have done 400 individual tax returns in my career. I guess that I probably stopped learning after the 100th or the 150th. And those other 150 to 200 1040s, the only reason I did them was get the chargeable hours into the system. But I wasn't learning. I was just machine. And if we really want to develop our people, we'll figure out a way to get rid of those extra 200 and do them either through artificial means or through complementary workforce platforms so that young Alan can raise his game sooner. And so that's the dilemma that I think leaders have is how much, how quickly, and how do we advance the operating model? There's always going to be trips. There's always going to be new regulations, just like every industry and profession. To wrap it all together, though, I think we're in a really good spot. The public markets need us. They still need us. I don't think the public markets nor the institutions are ready for a computer generated audit. I just don't think, and I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So I think we're in a really good spot to continue doing the great work and instilling all the trust that we do in the markets.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you, Alan. Matter of fact, if you look over the past when we had technology, we used technology to do what we used to do. We just used technology to do it. Now, what AI and data analytics and the next technology is providing is this opportunity to do something different. And that's what you're talking about.
Right.
And that's what the exciting part of it is. At least that's what I tell students all the time.
Yeah,
That's the
I
exciting
agree with you. I agree with you.
that area.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned earlier about writing a book. You've become very active in serving as an advisor to other organizations since you've left Baker Tilly. How's that experience been? Because that's been a new experience for you.
Yeah, Scott, it's been great. Look, one of the happiest moments in my day as the CEO was advising the next generation or my working strategically with colleagues and making us think differently. And I've been doing that for the last 3 years. And it's been so rewarding to work with next generation leaders, to work with CEOs, because I've been where they want to go. So they don't need to do what I did, but they're taking on my experiences and then using that input to frame their own ideas going forward. So I really enjoyed it. It's been a wonderful experience. I've learned a lot. I've learned, frankly, that the principles that I have included in the book Break the Mold that I wrote are universal. The principles are universal. Words matter. All roads lead to and from strategy, the trek to transformation, the power of teams, the commonality, traits, et cetera. They're universal. And so as I'm sitting here in 24, I'm like, a book needs to come out on this. Look, everybody knows the numbers that have been published on Baker Tilly, right? When I became the CEO, we went from 475 million to 1.5 billion in 8 years. We did it 2 years earlier than our goal. We did 20 some odd acquisitions. All the results everybody knows. What they're not aware of, and this is what the book talks about. They're not aware of the mindset transformation that we were successful in achieving in that 8 years. We were a very successful, steeped in our tradition, traditional firm. Book of business, business unit, management committee, the straight-laced firm. We were one of the best in it. And my predecessor, Tim Christian, is I'm sure you know him. He's one of the goats, right? In order for us to scale, we needed to break the mold. We needed to change. And the mindset shift and all the things we did to change the way we operated, the way we thought, that's what I'm most proud of. And that's what I want. That's what I wrote about in the book. And there's not a lot of books on CPA firms and professional services firms. And there's not a lot of firms more than that. There's not a lot of firms from recently retired or former CEOs. So it's like, look, I'm doing this with my consulting clients. Let's get the book out to as many as will read it. And if it helps a little bit and there's a little nugget, great. And so it was a fun project. I started in February of 25 and I finished in about Labor Day of 25, and it's been out. It's been a little bit of challenge getting it off of Amazon, although I think they're starting to ship now. And it's been a lot of fun talking about it.
It's good. I enjoy your newsletter. I get which little snippets of your
Yeah,
insights. It's very
yeah.
insightful. So I do appreciate reading
Thank
it
you.
from time to time. So it's great.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
And so bringing it a little more personal now, what do you do in your spare time? When you're not advancing and moving the accounting profession to great things, what are you doing?
Well, I take a break. I take a sigh. Look, I'm an avid exercise guy. I'm in the gym every day. It's just a habit.
Mhm.
As you know, I'm not this big muscular guy. I'm a small statured guy, but I'm in the gym every day because it's good for my head. So I love that. We're big boaters. We live on the water. We live in Florida in the winter on the a stone's throw from the Gulf of, well, let me just call it the Gulf, however you want to refer to the Gulf. Um, and in the so that's salt water. And in the summers, we live up in Michigan on one of the feeder lakes of the Great Lakes. So we're big boaters, big water sports people. I collect wine. I like wine. I love the different terroirs and and what have you of wine. And I like to read. I like to read books written by other CEOs
Okay. Good.
because you learn so much from their experiences. Benioff, from Salesforce, learned a ton. Reed Hastings, founder of Netflix. What is a guy that runs the CPA from going to learn from the guy who founded Netflix? Well, I read the book. It was great. David Cody, he was the guy who transformed Honeywell. I learned a ton, from that. So I'm a big reader of former leaders, former CEOs. Their experiences are invaluable. So do quite a bit of that too.
Yeah, yeah. I knew you had a lot of outside interest, so I knew that would be a fun question to get to in that perspective. I remember sitting around the dinner table with you at the board meeting, particularly talking about your boat trips. So yeah, getting to all that. So just
Yeah.
just to wind this up, you have any final comments you'd like to share with our audience today?
Look, first of all, thank you, Scott. I think we're in a great time as long as you're willing to take a different approach,
Mhm.
right? Those that want to keep doing it the way it's always been done, it's going to be a challenge because there's a lot of pull from those that want to advance whatever they want to advance, whether it's a company, whether it's technology, whether it's a process, et cetera. And if people can communicate thoroughly, if they can involve other people, change or progress will ensue, and it'll be fun. And so I'm very grateful for my partners at Nichols Colley. I'm having at the time of my life applying the principles that are in the book and from my general leadership experiences and thankful success to another organization. It's been wonderful to work with this team for the past 8 months or actually 9 months now, and I look forward to us scaling this organization. There's so many opportunities out there. Is if you keep your head up. One of the things I recognized, Scott, and I've talked to some retired leaders. I thought I was pretty aware of what was going on leading Baker Tilly, and I retire and I get involved in private equity and investors and coaching. I knew a quarter of what I know now. And it just goes to show that you've got to keep your head up, observing what's going on around you, reading, taking in inputs, uh, partnering or collaborating with people that are maybe not exactly like you in order for you to see all the colors, let's say, of the kaleidoscope that are in front of you because we get stuck on what's in front of us, the immediate, and what's important is what's beyond the immediate. And if you balance the two, you're going to have a great experience. So that's my pitch for people to go see the colors of the kaleidoscope, all of them, instead of focusing on one. Uh, it's been a wonderful last 3 years, and looking forward to the next however many years in the second half of my career.
Absolutely. Well, and I knew after sitting through those board meetings and dinners with you, this would be a very insightful time together. And I want to thank you for taking the time because you are very busy out there doing a lot of different things. I want to thank you on behalf of our audience for joining us today because it's been everything I expected and more. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks. Thank you, Scott. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Take care.
Good.